What's up, Internet? Welcome back to some more Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This time, we're going to do a showcase, not for blades, not even for drivers. We're going to be a showcase specifically for the superbosses. Now, for those of you guys that are already familiar with what we do on this channel, we're actually pretty close to being more or less maxed out power-wise, meaning that there's a lot of OP builds out there, but the whole point of this little series that we're going to be running across all the superbosses is to just give newer players an idea of what to expect when they're doing this for the first time. Now, fighting against the superbosses is what it's all about when you play post-game progression. Mind you, post-game means anything past Chapter 10, or past the beginning of Chapter 10, because that's when all the superbosses spawn, and it's just the best way to get some of the best items in the game. So the first one we're going to be fighting against is Ophion. Ophion, I've said many times before, to be one of the most challenging superbosses, but totally worth fighting against because when you beat him the first time, you'll never have to fight him again, and you're rewarded with 10 core chips that let you turn all of your shield hammers into the best tanks in the game, or some of the best tanks in the game. So that's kind of Artifice Ophion. The whole point of the video that we're doing right now as well, like I said earlier, it's for helping newer players that have just started post-game progression. Currently, I am running with a crit Mithra build. We won't be using any OP Poppy builds for now. I don't think we'll ever have to in the near future for the duration of this little series of ours. But I am running a crit Mithra build, and I recommend that for those of you guys that have reached Chapter 10 and have not gotten this already, I highly recommend you do this immediately. The whole point of the crit Mithra builds is that you have very little cooldowns, making it a lot easier to build your orbs. And building orbs is going to be your main source, or your main objective when you're fighting against the superbosses. It's extremely important that you do so, and it helps you reach high amounts of damage before you actually get the more powerful blades in the game, or build up the more powerful blades, rather. So yeah, that's going to be it though. Like, the build of crit Mithra is fairly easy to do. Just get Mithra and her affinity chart completely maxed out for her passives, and then you are basically good to go. And that's kind of the thing though, like, the whole thing about this build that we're using right now, there's nothing particularly post-game about it, aside from the fact that everyone is a little bit upgraded. So obviously for you guys that are watching right now, and you're all, even if you're all like level 70 at this point, it's going to be pretty much, like, we're going to be maybe doing things a little bit faster, but for you guys, feel free to just look at the combinations that we use to help build your elemental orbs as fast as possible. For those of you guys that don't know, building up elemental orbs is just a process of doing 3 stages of a blade combo, and then, when that blade combo is finished, you will receive an element of whatever element it was of the last orb that you just had. Now, the build that we're using for our accessories, it's going to be titanium vest. Literally, most of the time, if you want to have the best experience when playing here, just try to get as much HP as possible. Now, you see, I just died, but that's okay. We're allowed to make these kinds of mistakes, just because we are still fairly early on in the fight. It's just that the more HP you have, the more margin for error you will have. So that's kind of the thing, that we have max HP, or close to max HP. As well, the accessory we're using is the overclocking bangle. For those of you guys that don't know where to get one, you can get a lower leveled version one from Skyfist Remington in Letheria. So he's like a level, I believe he's a level 30 boss. He's one of the very first showcase bosses we ever used. So yeah, definitely go after him. Okay, keeping track of orbs is really tricky. You'll actually find me stuttering a lot during this video because I'm trying to keep mental note of what exactly it is that we're looking for. So you see, we have a light orb and a water orb. It's a little bit tricky to see, but I promise it's there. And the best thing I can think of when it comes to keeping track of your orbs is kind of just to like see the orbs that you have and then find the opposite. So kind of think of it like the opposite of light being dark and the opposite of water being fire. So those will be the orbs we're going to be looking at getting next. So I want to get a dark orb, fairly easy to do. I have an ice type on our team, and a very useful ice type, by the way. Her level 2 combo actually lets me heal the entire party, and whenever I switch her in, thanks to the overclocking bangle, I can actually heal the entire party upon switching her in. So here we go, gonna switch in, fully heal, and deal with attacks. His attacks, the attacks of Artifice Ophion are fairly easy to defend against. The thing that makes them so annoying is just the fact that they're easily sustained, and watch out for attacks like Barrier Fields. If you're fighting Artifice Ophion for the first time, I highly recommend playing as the healer. When you play as the healer, you run less of a risk of hitting him during the barrier field and doing massive damage. So yeah, that's basically the whole thing about that. Also, Murag fell off the cliff, but that's okay. We can build up very, very easily. Really, the name of the game to this is just play very safe on your end. Like, as long as you can play safe, then you should be fine. Remember, we have a lot of HP, and none of his attacks can kill you as long as you have at least 8,000 HP. That would be the best way to survive. Okay, so we're going to now build our Dark Orb, and the reason why we're mentally keeping track of this is because we already had a Light Orb. Try to keep this in mind as much as you can. Just try to think in opposites, really, whenever you build orbs, and that way you never have to worry about the combination ever again. Okay, also, the whole point of this build that we're using right now is that we're going to get some extra healing from Ursula. One other thing I also want to make note of is that because you are using Crit Mithra, it's very easy to build up your meters so that you can create a level 4 combo if that's what you need. But since we're not going for that right now, because he does have 2 attacks. There's it's not Calamity Fall, but there is Ouroboros Drive and Falak Buster. Those things are very, very annoying to deal with, just due to the fact that like they can hit the entire party and kill them. But since we have Ursula on our team and an Overclocking Bangle, we can easily heal ourselves. If you don't have that, that's fine. What you can do instead is just roll like some kind of healer on the leader that you have right now. As well, there is the Spoiler Blade. Well, I might as well say it right now. I mean, you guys are watching a late game thing, so sorry if you guys know the spoilers. You can use Nia as your healer. She can also be a very good replacement for Ursula if you don't have her. Alright, so here we go. Just cancel everything, really. Like, don't waste too much time. If you know that you have the correct blade element, you can easily just cancel to save yourself some time. Not to mention that timing this is going to be one of your safety cooldowns. So let me explain safety cooldown, since this is kind of what the series is about anyway. The main forms of safety for when you fight against the bosses, because most of these bosses have like really big damage attacks that are very scary to deal with. Sometimes it's going to be your level 4 combo, or it's going to be the level 3 combo of your, the level 3 combo, and then there will also be the chain attack. So those would be the main things that you'll want to look for. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and build myself a Earth Orb, because that's the opposite of Electric, which is the one that we just built. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to build up 2 levels of Ice. The whole point of the crit build that we're using right now is to make sure that we're as self-sustainable as possible, or self-reliant. It's mainly due to the fact that the AI of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like your party members, tend to not always be the brightest. Sometimes they do come through for you guys, and it's great when that happens, but for fights like the super bosses, you want to make sure you have as much control as possible, which is why I recommend the kind of setup that we have with Rex. Overclocking Bangle and Crit Mithra will be the best way to build up as many orbs as possible. Okay, so let's look at the orbs that we don't have. We don't have a Fire Orb, do we? Okay, so I guess we can easily just build that. Building up a Fire Orb is pretty easy with Mithra, because we also have the Pyra. Plenty of cooldowns for us. We're just gonna quickly build it right now. Oh yeah, also we have a Steam Bomb. Oh boy, this is gonna be tricky. Okay, so yeah, just stay calm whenever you see that barrier field come up. And we have ourselves a Steam Bomb. Here we go. So again, switch to Mithra just to give yourself some of that meter. And there we go. And that's gonna be our Steam Explosion. Okay, I'm trying to think of, again, thinking opposites, the best ways to really build any orbs. It helps to play as Rex, just because Rex has potentially 4 blades all at once. Okay, so I'm trying to think of like what other elements we're missing. Calamity Fall's coming in, not worried about that, we have full health. Okay, so yeah, see, that's what I mean by having that max HP. We have barely anything left. So here we go, just try to cancel these ones out too. Canceling out your auto attacks into a switch is also very helpful. And just like that, we're at full health. I guess the thing that we're going to do is just use ourselves and build Wind and Ice. And the combination, or the first 2 steps of the combination, are exactly the same. Okay, so just remember, cancel out your attacks, wait for the 2 hits from this, then cancel out the other attack. These attacks are coming in. At the emergency switch. There we go. Okay, I'm just quickly emergency switching right now. Getting ourselves fully healed. And then we can go straight into the Flame Bolt. So this is going to be the same thing over and over again. I'm going to spam the Electrofire. So that was very lucky for us. I recommend trying to build yourself into a similar situation when the HP level is around that, like around halfway. That's when he starts taking out the Ouroboros Drive. Yeah, once it reaches like just under halfway, you should probably start preparing your combos. Okay, so here we go. We're going to quickly build ourselves the ice. It's the exact same combination of electric then fire. And I'm not sure if I should wait for an attack, so you know what, we're just going to go ahead and switch. And again, cancel, as we always do. Okay, I see another fire coming in. I'm going to actually switch partway through this. Yeah, just give ourselves a little bit of a heal partway through. Again, if you're playing as a healer, it'll be a lot easier to deal with that. So remember, you don't if you don't have Ursula, don't fret. This is just making things a little bit faster for us. But if you're playing as a healer, then I recommend having some food items that increase your arts recharges, just so you can always have that heal cooldown. Florin works really, really well. Dromark, Nia probably works best if you don't have an Ursula, so yeah, I would recommend getting that. And since she's a mandatory unit, you really have no excuse not to. Okay, who are we missing? I'm looking at the orbs right now, and we have ice. Yeah, we have ice and winds, fire, electricity. I think we have them all. Pretty sure we have them all. Man, like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna use the Mithra. I think this is even more of a spoiler than Nia, but I don't care. Let's go ahead and do this. So, yeah, just go ahead and burn everything, because why not? Nether Fire's going to come in soon, I don't mind. And then we're going to go ahead and go for the cancel. So, yeah, I'm looking at the clock right now. It took us about... Yeah, okay, awesome. We have the entire board ready for us. So, yeah, I'm looking at the clock right now. It took about, like, 10 minutes for us to do this, mainly because I was explaining it. But that's kind of the key to being Artifice Ophion. Like, I know that we do quite a bit of damage, and you'll probably have more health on him than I do right now, just because we do more damage with our attacks. But the thing is, though, if you have 8, and then you have the Ascended Mithra form, or Numa, as it were, you can actually kill any boss in one go just with this setup. It's really, really powerful, but because the more orbs you have, the higher the damage multiplier on the left side of the screen will do. So let's just go ahead, not waste anyone's time anymore, and get things started. Well, I just wanted to add that there's a lot of funny photo opportunities because of the awkward angling that's on here. Because you're always going to fight Artifice Ophion on the staircase, so you'll just find yourself in some really awkward spaces. We're going to go ahead and yeah, we'll just have Zenobia. Yeah, and also just keep in mind, when you're doing these chain attacks, whoever it is that they last use will be the blade that they use when they do the all-out attack. So Mithra is going to cap things off. If you use the weakness of an enemy to break the orbs, then, like, you're going to build up that meter in the top left. And the nice thing about Dahlia is that because she does extra damage on the wind orb, and she has a special that lets you do the same amount of damage to the adjacent orbs, so we were able to break 3 orbs at once with the help of Mithra. Really, really powerful stuff. I recommend, if you have a Dahlia, I would recommend making sure that she's on your team when you're fighting against Superbosses for the first time. So yeah, look at all that damage that we're going to have now. 7,000%. This is guaranteed kill no matter how much health he has. It's insanely high damage. Like, we didn't even do the QTE and he's already dead. Yeah, so like that's instant kill for the hardest boss in the game. And the nice thing about it is that you never have to fight him again after this. Like, he's quite lengthy. Honestly, if you've never fought against Ophion ever, he would probably take you upwards to like half an hour if you're fighting him for the first time. Even longer if you're constantly dying to him as well. He's a very challenging boss, but thankfully though, he, like, again, you don't only have to fight him against him once. The reward he gives you lets you open a bulkhead in the world tree, which gives you core chips that lets your shield hammers have the highest block rating in the game. Extremely useful, especially on Cassandra. Cassandra, I put that in a previous video, but basically she has like 69% block rate and has access to ultimate shields and block rate up. So yeah, really, really good stuff to help you get on your way from when you're playing, because playing as the healer is very, very good for fighting super bosses, but so is playing a tank. But obviously, because we're playing as Rex, it's more likely that we're going to play as a healer and more than anything else. So, yeah, that's going to be the first video down. We're going to try to get all the super bosses. Most of them are pretty different. We didn't see him use the Falak Buster. Falak, it would only really show up in fights where you actually do just try to beat him from, like, completely just from his health and not using the chain attack. And, yeah, so Ouroboros Drive, best things to use for defensive cooldowns are Well, if you have a Chrome Katana, you can use the evasion, but otherwise level 4 combo, or stage 3 in your blade combo, or if all else fails, just burn your chain attack. You might as well just burn the chain attack at that point. So yeah, guys, good luck. Hopefully this helps out a little bit, and good luck fighting Ophion. Totally worth fighting, and you only have to fight him once, so good times. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.